This is the inside of the 2021 Elddis Majestic 185. If I firstly walk over to the main control panel, we can turn the 12 volt on just here. Beside it we have water pump on and off. Whenever the water pump is running, the green light will come on. We next have the main isolator for all of the onboard lights. These can all then be individually turned on and off on their own switches. And then we have awning light on and off. On this side here we have condition of leisure battery and how much water is in the fresh tank. Beneath that we then have the control panel for the whale heating and hot water. So you'll see we have water heater and heating, and if I start just down up here we can press it and you'll see we have an icon that flashes up as we press the button. So if we start with the first one, we have a little picture of a snowflake, and this is the boiler's frost protection mode. So if you've got water in the boiler but you don't necessarily want to be heating it up, you can pop it onto this one here and it will just keep the hot water at a low temperature to avoid frost damage. We then have a single wavy line. Wavy lines represent main supply, and I always round it up, so I class this as main supply using just about a kilowatt. We then have two wavy lines, so 2 kilowatts. So these are just dependent on the amperage of the site you're on to try and avoid tripping. If we don't have main supply, we can run on gas with a little picture of the flame. If we have both power sources available to us, we can run in dual fuel mode, so on a mixture of gas and mains at 1, or a mixture of gas and mains at 2. Whenever you're consuming gas, you will get a little flame just appear up here. If we now drop to the heating, same again, we get the icons. This time, firstly, a single wavy line for main supply, this time at about 500 watts. 2 wavy lines about a kilowatt, and then 3 wavy lines about 2 kilowatts. So again, just dependent on the amperage of the site that you're on. We then have a flame for gas on its own, and again we have the dual fuel mode. We control the heating temperature on the plus and the minus. Well, recommend dropping it down to the moon as a night mode for when you're sleeping. Temperature's low, and secondly the fan will be nice and quiet. And again, whenever we are consuming gas, we will get a little flame appear to let us know. If there's a problem with either the boiler or the heating, you will get a red exclamation mark either appear here for the water heater or here for the heating. If a red exclamation mark appears, just hold down the corresponding offending button and then you'll get a series of red lights down here. And then within the manual, or if you Google it, it will let you know what the problem is. If it's something that can be easily rectified, once you've rectified it, you will need to reset the control panel. And the way we do this is just by holding the water heater button and pressing the plus if it's a water heater issue, or holding the heating and pressing the plus if it's a heating issue. If we now move across, we have the microwave just here. This will work when we're hooked up to main supply. As it shows on the sticker there, do make sure that all contents are removed for travel. Behaves like most microwaves. You have your quick start just here, and your stop, your power settings, etc. The microwave is plugged in just up here, and whilst we have this cupboard open, just here you will find the solar panel regulator. You do not need to do anything with this, it will just smart charge the leisure battery as it is required. When it's flashing, it's charging. When it's solid, it means it's in float mode. We then have the sink, 2 main sockets, and then the light switch just above. The hob, so we have the electric hot plate that will work on main supply, which is operated just here. And then we have the 3 gas burner rings. Push in, twist and push the igniter. Beneath that you will then find the grill, and same again, push in, twist and push the igniter. And then we have the oven. Beneath the oven you will find some gas isolation taps for the cooker, the fridge and the hot water. They're all in the on position, and quite frankly they can stay like that. I always say if you smell gas in the van, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. Also underneath here you will find a plug plugged in, which is for the electric hot plate. Down here you have one of the air ducts for your heating. The one underneath it is the air intake. Dometic fridge just here. As you can see, it's in the off position at the moment. If I now turn it, we can put it onto main supply with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. We then have a picture of a battery which is 12 volt maintained for when we are driving to keep the fridge cold on the move. And then lastly, if we're not connected to mains, we can run it on gas with a little picture of the flame. To light the fridge, come across to your temperature control and hold it in, and then push the igniter. And then what we want is for that little line there to drift out of the white into the green to let you know it's lit. As soon as you let go, as long as it stays in the green, you know it's lit. If it drops back into the white, just repeat the process again. Push down to open the door. Then we have the removable freezer box just here. There's literally just a clip either side to remove it. Freestanding table, just located here. We then have light switch again, aerial fly lead and 12 volt socket just here, then 2 3-pin sockets and 2 USB charge points. In the overhead locker you will find the television aerial. So on the back wall just here we have the digital amplifier, on and off just here. Control the boost on the dial. To raise the mast, undo the collar and then push up and then get the aerial into the position that you require and then lock it back in place. Never over tighten these collars because you do run the risk of splitting them. At the moment the aerial is sitting in the horizontal position. We can put it onto its side into the vertical just by turning the tail just here. Always ensure that the aerial is down for travel. Above my head just here is the Omnivent fan. To raise the roof vent, just wind. We then turn the unit on in the centre, and then we have arrows out for extraction, arrows in for cooling, and it's variable fan speed by pressing. Do make sure that all the roof vents are down for travel. Smoke alarm and carbon monoxide alarm just here. Just make sure you test them frequently to make sure that they are working. And then here we have the PIR sensor for the alarm. Again, just press and check that it's working from time to time, as it is wireless and does require batteries. If we now come down beside the fixed bed and we raise this section up just here, you will see that we have the consumer unit. So we have all the main strip switches just here, so we've got all the individual MCBs and they're all labelled up. Then we have the main RCD and test button just here. So if something's not working on main supply, just check to see if you've tripped. We then have the 12 volt fuses just there, and again they're all labelled up. So if something's not working on 12 volt, just check to see if you've blown a fuse. This is a fully winterized motorhome, so the tanks are heated, and you'll find the isolator switch for it here. It's currently off. If I now flick it on, it's now active, as it were. There has to be water in the tanks, and it has to be below about 3-4 degrees outside for them to now come on. If you don't want them to come on at all, you can literally just isolate it here. If we now actually just go underneath the bed itself, you will now see that we can access the back of the consumer unit just here. This is where the battery charger is, so just make sure that nothing is obstructing this, as it needs airflow. We have the back of the battery box just there. We have the water pump and the surge dampener just there. Gas isolation tap for the heating. We've had another leisure battery added on this motorhome, so it just sits here. We have storage drawers this side, all the way along. Back of the gas locker just there. If we now come into the washroom, we have the shower cubicle just here. Do make sure that the shower screen is fully secure for travel. We then have the basin and the toilet. Bowl swivels about, open to the cassette down here on the grey lever. Push to flush on the blue button just here. Level indicator just here. Do make sure that the cassette is closed again, especially if you're trying to remove the cassette from the outside, as it will not release until this has been shut. Wardrobe just here. If we now move back down to the front and we drop the front just here, you'll see one of the travel seats, but also just tucked back here you will find the boiler itself and its drain tap. So to drain the boiler down for winterization, all you need to do is make sure the water pump is turned off, and then come to that yellow lever and slide it across like so. This will then drop all the water out. If you are fully winterizing the motorhome, I always suggest that you also open up all the taps inside as well, as this will aid in releasing any airlocks in the system. When it comes to refilling it, close it back up like so. Close all the taps in the motorhome as well. Fill up the fresh water tank and turn the water pump on. Leave it for a few minutes as it starts to fill the boiler back up again. Then begin opening up all your taps, turn them to hot, wait until they're running freely, then to cold. And then once all the water is running freely through them, close them and then the system will fully reprime itself.